In this video, I'm going to break down the exact strategy that took this channel from average to unstoppable. This very first video that we worked on together has now crossed 8.7 million views, and nearly a year later, you see this little icon here, this means 276 views per hour. And that's an entire year later. And this makes it their best performing video ever. And to kind of put that in perspective, this video performed 42.9 times better than their usual uploads. And once this video exploded, every video after that started to ride that wave of momentum, and we have really grown this YouTube channel. Before I started working with these guys, they were getting 1,000 returning viewers today. And now they get 8,000 returning viewers a day across their entire channel, which is an 8 times growth. And this strategy that I implemented on this video and the videos after it, I want to reveal it today so that you can effectively take it, understand how we, implemented this, and then apply it to your own YouTube channel. So this right here is the overview of the entire lifespan of the YouTube channel. Can you guess when we uploaded this YouTube video? Obviously we uploaded it right here, and you can see the amount of subscribers that one video got was pretty drastic. And then since then, the growth has just been really steady because of all of the videos that we uploaded afterwards, which I'm going to show you in this video here. And so to give you some more context, Mrs. Eats, as it said here on her channel banner, it's enjoying the differences between Japan and the world. She effectively made videos for a Western audience, predominantly America, with these kind of videos. And this is their most popular videos. If I showed you by latest, you'd see that there are a lot of videos that weren't really performing. And it's because this is like the boom and bust of being a YouTuber. And this is probably you right now, right? If you're watching this video, you're probably curious about how I help them grow this channel. The issue that I consistently find with YouTubers when they hop on a free 15-minute call with me is I always say to them, what's the goal of the channel and who are you making videos for? Because if you don't know those things, how can you ever hit the target? And a lot of time creators don't actually know who they're making content for. And so the one thing that I have seen time and time again, doing this for 3 years, working with a lot of creators, is that the more deeper you understand your audience on a psychological level, the more you hit the target, right? Because you're able to essentially build every video idea, title, and thumbnail to serve them. A lot of creators make what they want to make as opposed to creating what the audience wants from them. And once you have that switch go off in your head, you can start to filter every single video idea that you have through that lens. Does this interest this type of audience that we want to attract? Yes or no? If it's a no, you just delete it. And so one of the big things that I always try and get people to think about is what are the 10 biggest problems of your target audience, and what are the 10 biggest aspirations of your target audience? If you have a list of those 20 things, just focus on that for the next 2 years. Just make different variations, solving those 10 problems and helping them get closer to those 10 biggest aspirations. YouTube is that simple. And so when I first started working with the Mrs. Eats team, I was asking them these questions of who do they make content for? And, it was 17 to 35. They're mostly men. They're mostly in the US. They love Japanese culture. Mrs. Eats likes to go and do vlogs where she would travel to these American places and do comparisons. Whereas now it looks a little bit more like this, right? We understand that they love reaction and explainer content. They love it when we have visual humor in the titles and the thumbnails and in the editing. We understand that they love Japanese pop culture. So this is, anime, gaming, fashion, music. We understand that they have these consumer comparisons between products, foods, and services. And this was another key thing from the psychology side, is that they were heavily influenced by nostalgia. And so this was a connection usually to Japan in their childhood, right? So your favorite TV show could have been Pokemon, for example, or you played a lot of Nintendo games. And effectively, when I looked at their channel, when I first started working together with them, I was looking to understand all of those things of what my hypothesis was on why people were clicking on their most popular videos. These 5 pillar strategies were effectively what I broke down their top performing videos into, which was people, places, objects, and experiences. And then every single one of these was basically an idea of what a repeatable series could be. And so we were then going to try these out and see if the audience resonated and clicked on it. And if we did, then we had a repeatable series on our hands. For example, Japanese tries American blank for the first time. So we were going to go through and do McDonald's, Japanese tries KFC, American KFC for the first time, etc. And like, this is a clear example of a YouTuber that has nailed this. So this is Nisha. She is an accountant, and she made a ton of videos in this repeatable series of individual videos called Accountant Explains. And this is where she would have Accountant Explains Money Habits Keeping You Poor. This got her 10 million views. Accountant Explains Should You Buy, Lease or Finance a Car? So this is one of her core audience's biggest problems that would be on her list of the 10 biggest problems. And that got 4.7 million views, right? And so this is just 4 of the biggest, but her channel was just flooded with these over the course of a year because it repeatedly worked for her. And I think she hit like 1 million subscribers in a single year. And the idea was like, take something and apply it to your own niche. And so I was like, okay, let's try Japanese Explains or Japanese Reacts to, and we'll just try that out and see if this works. And so based on everything else that we had seen that had worked on their channel, I was like, let's do something with video games, like a Japanese video game, right, that tapped into the nostalgia. So we were looking for a game that was like 15 to 20, 30 years ago. And so this is like one of the key things here of like, we wanted to explore something familiar and instantly recognizable. And the reason why I really emphasized that to them at the time was, you need to make sure that your thumbnails are very clear and simple. And so like that, you can understand what the video is about, because people are scrolling rapidly on their iPhones or on their TV. And you've got to have something that the second they see it, they understand it in less than 3 seconds, and they make that impulse decision to click and watch the video, especially if you understand them on a psychological level, which is what we were trying to do here. And, a lot of creators, I think they try and be clever and not clear. And a lot of times when you're trying to be clever or funny in the title and thumbnail, you basically just require your potential viewer to decode what the video is about. And people aren't going to do that. Okay, so like the best videos that I know that I've worked on have always had the most simple packaging, and it always gets them clicks. And so this led us to the idea of Mrs. Eats explaining the real meaning behind something nostalgic. And so that's why we came up with this idea of Japanese Explains What They Really Said in Street Fighter 2. And within 3 months, this video had 6.8 million views, which is just crazy. This one video alone brought them in, 60,000 subscribers. And it pretty much just took off from the very beginning, which meant that we were onto something. And so if we fast forward to nearly a year later, you can see this video has now got 8.7 million views. And, to break this packaging down a little bit as to why it resonated with their audience was that it was an interesting topic, right? Street Fighter 2 is a popular game, which many people have nostalgia for, especially in the West. And this had broad appeal because most people have heard of this phrase of shuriken or hadouken. As kids, a lot of us would just shout it when we're play fighting in the playground, but we never actually knew that we were saying "are you Ken" in Japanese. So like that's like a really interesting tidbit that made the audience want to click and figure out, what else was I saying or have I heard in this game that I didn't actually know was Japanese? What did it really mean? And so that meant that there was a lot of broad appeal. And when we paired that with this, what they really said in the title, it just makes them more curious. Okay, and the key thing here was like this Japanese Explains and the image of Mrs. Eats is the thing that took this video to the next level, because if Mrs. Eats was not in the thumbnail, it just wouldn't result in that amount of clicks, right? Because we need the authority. We need someone who's Japanese explaining it to us. So what I wanted to show you was the returning a new viewers tab for this video, just to highlight like how much traffic this video actually got. At its peak, you can see that we had 670k new viewers and 35,000 returning viewers, which is defined as a viewer who's effectively watched at least one of your videos in the past. And because this broke out and YouTube was just pushing it like crazy, all of the new viewers that we got are basically traffic that are here today but gone tomorrow unless you can bring them back. Right? And so the way that you're able to get those returning viewers, as I mentioned before, is by having a repeatable series that people are familiar with, and so they're likely to binge watch your content. And for these guys, because this validated us so quickly, right, and this is our first video that we worked on, the key thing there is to really, as a creator, to take a step back and deconstruct, why did people click on this video and can we do it again? And in this case, we knew that we had the Japanese explains title format. We knew that we basically had popular culture that we could now go through. We could do this for games, we could do this for movies, we could do this for fashion, we could do this for songs. Basically endless ideas. This is something that they could do for the next 10 years on their YouTube channel and it would work. And we just basically had to take something that our target audience was familiar with, but by using our expertise, we effectively could be the bridge between Japan and the US. And so once this worked, we basically created another video in this series, which was Japanese Explains What They Really Said in King of Fighters. Now, this video got them 5.1 times more views than what they usually got on their channel. And we still had the Japanese Explains title format. But the issue that we had with this, which we only realized after, was that this game was never sold in America, apparently. Apparently, it was never popular in America. It was actually very big in Asia and in the Middle East. But this was something that we only knew, once we uploaded, but it still performed very well for them, but obviously not 8 million views good. But it was still is a great learning point for us because, as I've mentioned before, you basically have a hypothesis and you're trying to test, like, does this confirm what we believe to be true? And so if a video does underperform, that's still a really important data point because you get to validate that what people do not want from you. So it's not all about just getting the wins, it's about seeing what underperforms. And this is another good example where this video got them 2.6 more views than what they usually get. But the issue that we experimented here was by removing the Japanese Explains title format, which I think was a mistake. But the issue is that a lot of people don't know of Arnold's crazy Japanese commercials. So the reason that someone would click on this, the curiosity for this video, would be more so around what the hell is this commercial, as opposed to, oh yeah, I remember that. Why did he do that? What the hell was he even saying in it? Right? So they're completely different reasons as to why you would click. And I think that reduced the amount of people in our total addressable market compared to something like Street Fighter, which is incredibly broad. This was also another video that we worked on, which was how offensive is the Japanese version of The Office. And this one here just took off for them, right? Got them a lot of new viewers. But this is the key thing that I really want to emphasize to you guys, and I really hope that you take away from this video, is that it brought back a ton of returning viewers, right? In that first day, it was around 25,000 returning viewers, as well as a ton of new viewers. And you can see that the returning viewers was high over the course of those days. And so when we look at this, and forgive me, I didn't have the highest quality resolution, but you can see, like, before we started working together and before that Street Fighter video, the returning viewers was only 1,000 a day. So they were getting tons of new viewers, right? Anywhere between 3 to 6K on average every single day. But the issue that they have here is they had a leaky bucket because those people were coming onto the channel, they were watching one of Mrs. Eat's videos, but then they weren't really sticking around, right? It was only 1,000 people a day were on the channel. And so that's a massive issue because you cannot build a community and an audience on your channel if no one sticks around, especially if you just have this revolving door. And so the issue here was how can we fix this? And the repeatable series is always what I have known that fixes it, because you're basically saying, this is what this channel is about. This is what we offer to you. If you like it, there are 100 other videos just like this on our channel. And that's when people get to binge watch them and effectively build that relationship with you. And this is especially true if you're into business, because that's when people feel like they know, like, and trust you, and then they want to pay you money to fix their problems for them. So here you can see returning viewers was 8, 9, 7, 11, 7, 6 all the time. And every single one of these videos brought them back a returning viewer of audience, as well as loads of new viewers. And so for these guys, it's just effectively how much can we just get to really dial in how well we know our audience and create what they want to watch. By the way, if you're finding this video valuable and you're wondering, how could I apply this to my channel? book a call with me. There's a link in the description below where you can book a free 15-minute call where I'll give you a channel audit and tell you what I think you should be doing to improve the amount of views on your YouTube channel, and it's completely for free. Now, one key thing that I wanted to point out here is that when something works, you should be rinsing and repeating it until it no longer works. And one of the key mistakes that the Mrs. Eats team made is that for some reason, after all of that success, they went back to their old content style and they uploaded these two videos right here, which both dramatically underperformed at 62K and 38K, which is a dramatic drop from the hundreds of thousands and millions of views that they were getting. And can you guess what happened the second that they went back to the video straight after these two, once they realized that they'd made that mistake by deviating? The video got 868k views with Japanese reacts to foreigners' terrible Japanese tattoos. And so I really just want to basically nail this, that you need to learn the psychographics of your audience. You need to understand what makes them tick, how to create more content for them. And then once you've done that, you're able to turn these into a repeatable series of videos that keep people coming back. And the whole point of having that one series is that all of the other videos that you're creating that are more experimental are effectively trying to find a second repeatable series that can sit alongside that first, and then ideally a third or a fourth. And that's how the biggest YouTube channels grow right now, is they have these core pillars of series that they know resonate with their audience. If you want to see how I did this for another content creator, you can click this video right here where I break down the entire strategy for GrowVeg, the world's biggest gardening channel.